Now I'm going to bring in Stephanie Pacifici, somebody that I've trained for 3 years, started from point A to the point she's at now. She's going to show you that with the proper technique, leverage, and balance, how much snap and power you can get on your punches. Okay, I'm going to have Stephanie show us the basic punches. Okay, we're going to start with the jab. Okay, legs are bent, nice. Okay, take a step back. You're going to rotate that hand. You're going to drive in. Okay, give me a good angle. Okay, I'm going to have Stephanie step in with the jab now. You notice her right hand is up, protecting her chin, her elbow is in, her hand is rotated to her face so she can throw a good right hand. Okay, she's going to step in with her jab. She has good balance. Step back. Step back. Good. Flat. Okay, when she steps in, she's not going to want to travel 2 feet to me right now. Okay, you never want to be up in the air that long. You want to inch your way in. Boxing is all timing and distance judgment. So she's just going to inch her way in. Good. Okay, step back. Good snap on that jab. Excellent, excellent. Step back. Okay, go back. This jab is going to have more at the end of it, more authority, more meaning, more snap. Nice. Good. Put that hand up. Okay, she stops right here. If she brings her hand back low, go ahead. I counter with the right hand. That's why you keep that plane, the same plane, to protect from any counter right hands from a right-handed fighter. Okay, don't tighten up when you throw that jab. Loose, relaxed, quick snap. Like I said, it's not a power punch. It sets everything up. It does so many things. Don't use it for power. You can use it for power at the right time with a real drive from your shoulder. Use for a million different things. Good jab, hands up. Move back. Keep it up.
Lower the middle a little.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, keep your hand up.
Okay.
Keep dropping it.
Okay.
All right. She's going to rotate her body, drive into my pad, snap it, and bring it back the same plane. Okay. She brings that hand straight back. Nice bend in her leg. She rotates her back foot. What I like to do when I train people, have them throw the punch, have them stop as soon as they hit the pad to see where their body's at. Go ahead and stop. Bend that leg a little more. There you go. Perfect. Nice. Good. Do again. Keep that balance. Excellent. Excellent. Good job. That'll teach you balance, how to control your body. Although I'm not going to want you to stop when you hit somebody. You're going to snap it and bring it back. Go ahead and snap it and bring it back. Nice. Okay, I want her to snap it and bring it back now. Nice, speed. Good, snap at the end. Good. Okay, we're going to go to the left hook now. The right hand or a turn of your backside will set up your left hook if you're a right-handed fighter. Now remember now, everything is the opposite for a southpaw. They're going to have their opposite leg in front. So everything I say, if you're a southpaw, left-handed, you're going to do everything the opposite sides of your body. So for you, it would be a right hook. For us righties, it's a left hook. We turn our right side, sets up our left hook. We turn, we throw our body into the punch. We let our hand travel with our body. Okay? We don't turn, come out, and then bring it around. Bring it with your body. Okay, so Stephanie's going to get in position as if she threw a right hand or reacted to a punch of mine. That sets her up for a left hook. Shorten it up. Good. Bend the legs. Nice. Shorten it up. Go ahead and give me an angle on me right here. Now, that was good. She stayed in her cylinder. She didn't lose her balance too much, maybe over-punched a little bit. The front foot came off the ground. I will do that to my students to teach them balance. You do not want to overcommit with a punch because when you miss, you leave yourself wide open, you fall off balance. So let's do it again, and Stephanie will not know when I will lift this pad. Nice punches. You cannot overcommit. Shorten it up a little bit. Good job. Rotate your right hand. Okay, good. There you go. Couple more left hooks. She turns her body. The punch comes with it. She makes a circle. Stays in her cylinder. So if she misses, she can come back with the right hand. Beautiful. Throw yourself a little off balance. When you miss, you can't come back with the right hand. Unless you're as good as Stephanie, you can get your balance back. You can make adjustments. The more you do this, the more you will feel your body. You will, at times, get off balance. You will be able to throw yourself back on the balance. The more you practice balance, feeling balanced. Okay, one more left hook. Good job. Maybe two. Okay. We're going to go with the right hook to the body now. Okay, she's going to drop down. Although, me being so much taller, she doesn't have to drop down too much. And she's going to turn, be a little more level with the arm. A little more tucked in, curl, a little lock right there, and she's going to curl it in. Good job. Good pop. She puts that pop at the end of it. Don't turn it over. Might hurt your wrist. Take away from the usage of your body. Good. Nice punch. There you go. She keeps that chin down. Chin is always down. The left is protecting it. The shoulders are protecting it. Good rotation in her body. Keep that level. Once the elbow drops, you're going to lose the power. Your direction is this. If your elbow drops, you got one stationary thing going, one plane, top of it's going another plane. It will not be able to drive through your target. You want to sink it in and drive through it. So you get that arm the same level. Don't open it up too soon. Keep it in this cylinder right here. Good. You will have to loop it around the elbow. To do that, do not bring your arm out first and come around. Get the turn coming first and loop it around the turn. Lock your arm. Good. If I'm right here, she can throw it shorter. Okay, good shot. Okay, we'll talk about the right uppercut now. Stephanie's going to get in position. Spread your feet apart a little more. Good balance. Throwing it from right there, go ahead. You're not going to have as much power. Make sure you don't drop your hand before you turn. There you go, that was nice. Excellent. Okay? Now, if she does a little quick turn to get in position, she can rotate her body through it. She's doing very good. A lot of people will throw this punch, lift their body up too high, tilt their chin up, leave themselves wide open. You want to stay nice bend, turtle. Let that arm travel up, keep that chin down, keep a little curl, a little crunch in your stomach. Bad posture is a good thing in boxing. If you are too straight up, you won't have any leverage on it. Little curl, granted that it's not bent over at the back. Little curl. Don't pull yourself up, straight. Okay, stop. Okay, little too sharp. Let's see a little bit more like that. There you go. Little curl in that back so that you're driving in and you're not lifting yourself up. Don't lift up. One more, and I'm going to stop you. Stop right here. Bend your leg. Right there. Okay, one more. There, you've adjusted yourself to a good position. Do it again and get in that position when you make contact. By the time you make contact. Good. Okay. Rotate that hand so your palm is facing you. Excellent. Good punch. Okay, we're going to work on the left of the body now. This is going to take a little bending over, not bending over, leaning a little bit of the waist, bent waist a little bit over to the side so that you can come. Show them where you would hit me, around, underneath my elbow. To get in that position, you bend a little bit over the waist, put your weight on your front leg, not your front foot. You don't want to be over it. You want to be on top of it. Good. Don't pull your body out too high when you come up with it. There you go. Tucked in, and you don't rotate too much. So a lot of times I'll hold the pad like that for him, or if we do a counter move, I'll go like this really quick with it. I'll do it like this so you can see better. Okay, try not to overcommit. Because if you were to hit somebody in the body, as opposed to the chin, if you hit somebody on the chin, you will go right through that chin. If you hit somebody in the body, you're not going to go through their body. So, you are not going to commit so much of a turn to that punch. Short jerk of your body, and then stop your body. Very good. Okay, now we're going to get into basic combinations. We'll start with the basic 1-2. Jab to the eyes, or find your range with that jab, or hit them with that jab, whichever you prefer. Follow it up with the right hand. I should say, I'm going to have her step in with her jab to get the distance. If she's finding somebody taller, which she usually does, they are going to keep their distance away from her. She has to step into the punch to get her range, find her range, get inside of them, and then follow with her other punches. So I'm going to have her step in and follow with the right. Good, step back, good job. Nice. Okay. Okay, I'm going to have her do it a little faster now, just a little faster. Okay, that last punch went a little down. We want to keep it on the same plane, drive straight through it. The power will be broken off if you go down. There are certain punches you can throw coming down, but I'm going to show that later, how to get power out of it. If you throw something straight, just what I said, straight plane, same plane. Drive right through it. Excellent. Okay, here we go. Okay, that right hand will lead her into a left hook position. So we're going to work a 1-2-3 now. She's going to follow her right hand up with the left hook. Good. 1, 2, 3. Good. Excellent, excellent. Very level hook, very precise. That was really nice. The reason the left hook is so important is it cuts across the chin. When you get hit on the chin, the lights go out. That is where you get knocked out. This is the button. That's why you keep your chin down at all times and you tuck them in the shoulders if that's all you can do. When that hand comes around, her left hook comes around and clips me on the chin and goes through, the neurons that send the messages to my body from my brain get cut off. That's the effect. So, you want that jab to blind them, the right to turn them, and the left to clip them. If all works out good, good. This can be done a little faster now. Legs are bent. Good job. We keep your legs bent at all times. Good, good speed. That jab gets her in position to land the other two punches, gets her in range. Good. We're going to work the left to the body now. Okay? We're going to double up to the head after a few of singular lefts to the body, just to get her in the groove. Underneath. Don't rotate that much. If I move it, you don't want what just happened to happen. You don't want to go that far. You want to stop, explode on your target. Think about exploding on your target. Sink it in, explode on it. That was perfect. I do this to my students all the time to show them what happens when they miss. Very important you know what happens when you miss, where your body is, how vulnerable you become when you miss. You want to be never vulnerable. Okay, so she's going to throw that one here. to get my arm to drop or to fold me to come to the head. Just gonna do it slow so you guys can see the little rotation, little less rotation after the first one, just a quick twitch. There's much quicker punch. Remember, after that first one, the farther you turn, the longer it's going to take to double up the second punch. Touch, turn, quick, twitch, turn. That was nice, very good. Okay. We're going to work the right uppercut, left hook. The right uppercut should always be followed by a left hook. You're trying to lift the chin and cut across. Okay? Very good. Very nice, compact. Stephanie's very compact right now. Short, good punches. She doesn't leave much openings. She lets her body throw the punches. Excellent. Very good, very good. Okay, we're going to do the jab, straight right, jab again. You want to finish your combos with a left, so it whips your body back into your fighting stance if you're right-handed. As I said, if you're left-handed, you're going to want to finish your punch, your combination, with a right to bring yourself back to your fighting stance. She's going to work a jab, straight right, jab. Slow, 2, and then whip that body. Good. What I like about this is throw the 1, 2, and stop. Now, if I was to counter that, I turn and I'm going to come in with my right hand. That's going to beat it and block my right hand. Now, if she was to throw a hook, it all depends on who gets there first. That jab is a quicker punch off the right, and it blocks the right hand coming in. Throw the right hand and stop. Another point is, that's how far the right goes. How far does your left go? So if the person was taking a step back, you could probably still hit them with that punch without stepping. Go ahead and rotate. Good job. Okay, go this way. Good. Good balance when you missed. Nice. 1, 2, 3. Very crisp. Hands are up, very straight, direct. No added motions of the hands or arms having to travel extra distance. You want them to travel only that short distance. The only distance they have to travel. This is one of the few times where that jab can become extremely powerful by the rotation she has off of throwing the right hand, how she can whip her body, her shoulders, her feet, her hips into the third punch, which is a jab, an extremely powerful jab, can be as hard as most people's right hands. That was nice. Good, good. Once again, it's going to block something coming in, turn her back to her fighting stance quicker. Okay, real loose and relaxed until 1, loose and relaxed and quick. Snap at the end of it. Nice. Good job. Don't tense up when you punch. Stay relaxed with your breathing. I don't necessarily say breathe every time you punch. That becomes a rhythmatic procedure for you, and you might start throwing your column with I try to stay totally relaxed. And breathe normally so that I'm not on a rhythmatic pace. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Now, you can't tell when the punches are coming when she's not breathing. When she does that, you can tell if punches are coming. Now, if she doesn't do that, it's just boom, boom, boom. Nice. Good, good. Very important that you wrap your hands before you work out to protect your knuckles and your hands. They're the vital part of your boxing game. I like to use slightly elastic wraps, 180 inches long, if not longer. Start with this hook loop around my thumb. I can do it with the wraps rolled up. That's going to take a little longer than if I just let the slack fall out and use my hands. I go around the wrist a few times, support that wrist, keep me from doing any funny bends or hitting. If I do happen to hit the bag or somebody wrong, it'll protect my hand, my wrist. I then cross over on top. Very important. I like to keep everything on top. I come underneath, because you have to come underneath to get that snug pull. I grab it with my thumb, flip it over on top. Now I'm making the pad for my knuckles. Come back again and again, and depending on the length, as you get to know your wraps, you will know the length of the pads, how many times you should go. Okay, that's a good pad right there. I end over on the pinky side so I can hold it with my thumb. Pull it up underneath again. Cross back down, pinky side of the wrist. Come around the wrist. Now I want to go around a few of my fingers. Stay on top. Come around the outside of the pinky to the inside of the pinky on top. I pull it, I should say, I make a fist to pull it snug. If I wrap my hands with my hand open and keep pulling, by the time I'm done and I go to make a fist, that's going to be maybe too tight and cramp my hand and pull on it. So I come through, make a fist, get the slack going, even it out nice and flat, come back around the wrist. Around the outside of the thumb, around the inside, back to the outside, down the wrist. To the outside of my index finger, to the inside of it, on top, cross it, pull it snug with the making a fist, around the wrist again, around the middle finger. I like to do only 3 fingers, or I should say 4 including the thumb, but 3 fingers. Okay, pull it snug, everything on top, because I like to leave a little bit more for my wrist. Support that wrist. Now some wraps have Velcro, some don't, these don't. I like to tuck it in. If I don't have Velcro, I have to tuck it in. Okay, feel snug. Use a piece of tape, secure the wrist. Keep the wrap from undoing while I'm doing my shadow boxing or speed bag or what have you. Pull that snug. Feels good. I like to keep everything on top, as I said. Protect my hand a little more support up there. Keep it from cramping up when I'm shadow boxing, having too much here. I can't make a tight fist, so I like to make that tight fist. Sometimes I'll take a little piece of tape, tape this area right there also, give me a little something to grab onto. If you have a small wrap, or if you have 2 small wraps for each hand, you can't do as much as we wanted to do with the 1 wrap, which is the big pad on top of the knuckles. Take one of the smaller wraps, hold it in between 2 fingers, spread your fingers apart, come around, then spread all your fingers apart to make it the size of your knuckle length. And you can just come around all the way around till you make yourself a pad that you will put on top of your knuckles that the smaller wrap will go on top. So I get my pad, which is a very thick pad. I'll hold it with my thumb, come up underneath. This is going to be the tricky part. It's going to take practice to be able to hold it. Come around a couple of times. If it's long enough, I made kind of a longer pad. If I would have made a shorter one, I could have came around my wrist, tuck that in, or I could just tuck it in like this. Then I would start wrapping my hands on top. Once again, this wrap is a lot longer, so what I will do is support my wrist a little more here. Go around a few times. Okay, up to the top now. Crossing again, holding it with my thumb, slipping it over. Thumb is very important. It's going to keep your wrap from falling out of your hand, so you're going to have to practice to get this little technique down. Fold it over. Fold it over. Okay, so now I come up underneath, keeping everything tight and snug. When I come over, I'm going to come down the outside of the wrist to the inside of the wrist, back to the outside of the pinky. Now, like I said before, if I pull this too tight, by the time I'm done, I won't be able to make a good fist. My hand will cramp up. So I make that fist now before I pull it. Then I pull a little bit so it's snug. Outside of the wrist again, round the wrist, outside of the thumb to the inside of the thumb, back to the outside, underneath, around the wrist. Okay, we're going to the outside of the index finger. I like to tuck all this excess in when I'm wrapping my hands. I get that wrap. That's why I like the slightly elastic or elastic ones, because they contour to your hand better. Won't leave too much air gaps. See, I can pull that snug right there. Back to the outside of the wrist, around the wrist, to the top. Middle finger now. I like to cross it. In other words, I don't like to come to one side and then come to the other side like that. I like to go to whichever side is going to cross over, which would be outside to inside, back to outside. Okay, make that fist nice and snug. Okay, I like my wraps to look good. Try to keep everything nice and flat and contour. I don't like anything on the bottom. I like to just grab. Don't like to have that restriction of a bunch of gauze or wrap in my hand where I can't make a good fist, a good comfortable fist. So I'm coming around the wrist again. A few times. This hand has much more support than my left hand. I did more padding for my knuckles, more wrist support. Depends on your injuries, what you need to do. Like I said, I would take another piece of tape here. You can go all the way up to here and tape, support that hand. If you have knuckle problems, you're going to want to make pads for the in between your knuckles. If it's the top of your knuckle that hurts, you're going to want pads that go in between your knuckles. Out of gauze, cut some gauze, roll it up, or use cotton balls with a little bit of Vaseline to make them stick. I use gauze, a little thicker, roll it up, make little small tubular shape pads that go in between my knuckles to take the pressure off my knuckles when I hit. The pressure goes to the pad. If your knuckles are sore and you're wrapping your hands on top of your knuckle to protect them, you're really not protecting, you're just putting more pressure on top of your knuckle. You want to take that pressure off your knuckle by going in between the knuckles with pads. Like that. I would put some pads right here, then I would wrap my hands. That will keep the pressure off my knuckles when I make impact on a bag or a person. You need to have your hands wrapped. When you're training boxing, you need to protect your hands as much as possible. They are your artillery. Without them, you cannot box. Main problems people have with their hands is their knuckles. Maybe they didn't wrap or wear gloves when they hit the bag, bruised the knuckle. It takes a long time for a bruised knuckle to heal, so you want to alleviate that problem before it ever occurs. If your knuckles are sore, what you're going to do is put pads in between the knuckles. If your knuckles are sore and you put something on top of it, it's not going to alleviate the pressure. It'll create more pressure, more force into the knuckle. You want to keep the pressure off the knuckles. So go in between the knuckles with gauze pads that create a barrier that will hit before the knuckle does, keeping the pressure off the knuckle. Take a piece of gauze, depending on how much gap you have in between your knuckles will determine how thick you need to make the gauze pad. So we roll it up, probably inch, quarter of an inch pad will be long enough. If you want to go too long, it'll wrap around your hand, right there. So to keep this from unfolding, take a little tape, go ahead and secure it. Because of the length of this gauze, I can make 3 pads, which is perfect to go between all 3 of the separations in my hand. There's 2. Don't want to use too much tape. Tape will make it a little harder. Kind of like putting a little bit more force on top of it. Tape is a little harder in gauze, so you want to use the gauze more than the tape. So now I have my 3 pads going between my knuckles. I now have my 3 pads, place them in between my knuckles. As you see, it's a balancing act right now. So what I do is take some tape, about the length of my fist, I eye the distance between. Everybody's hand is different. So once you become used to your hand, you'll figure out how long you should go, how much distance between. This is just to hold it so I can wrap my hands. It's not supposed to be real tight, just to hold it so I can wrap my hands. Okay? Making sure they are in between my knuckles, not on top. On top will make more pressure. This will alleviate the pressure. Okay? Make contact as those pads. Now we're ready to wrap our hands. Protecting our knuckles. Okay, because we want to be able to work out. So you make sure you protect your hands. If your knuckles are sore, protect your knuckles. It takes a while for them to heal. I like slightly elastic wraps, if not elastic. At least 180 inches, giving me plenty of room to come around my hand, around my knuckles, protect my hand. Okay, I can wrap it with it rolled up like this. It's going to take a little longer. So what I do is let it drop to the ground and wrap my hands. I come around my wrist a few times, support that wrist, get that wrist strong. Feel like you have a cast on it. When you're done, it should feel like a cast, the whole hand. Okay, I cross on top, come underneath, which I'm not going to come underneath too often. I like to keep everything on top. So I come on top. I use my thumb to hold it. I'm going to make a pad on top by folding it over, using my pad to grab onto it. This is going to be the tricky part. It's going to take a little while, a little practice to get used to, is that thumb flipping over like that. Okay, that's a good little pad. So I come underneath. I cross on top, down to the outside of my wrist. Come around the wrist to the outside of my pinky finger. I wrap around it and back over the top. I make a fist to pull the slack. If I just wrap my hand pulling this tight, by the time I'm done, I won't be able to make a fist. It'll cramp up and hurt. pull that slack by making a fist. Let's leave this loose, pull that slack. Okay, come around the outside, around the wrist, outside of the thumb, inside of the thumb, back to the outside. Coming around that joint. Underneath the wrist, keeping everything on the wrist, trying to keep it off the palm area. Come the outside, to the outside of my index finger, to the inside of my index finger. Pulling the slack by making a fist. Coming to the inside of wrist, inside of my wrist, to the outside of my wrist. Around the middle finger, to where it's going to cross over it in an X fashion. If I go to this side and come down, I'm not crossing it. So in this particular wrap, I go to the right side of my middle finger, cross it over from the left side, make a little X. Okay, I like everything flat to the outside of my wrist. Now, a couple things you can do. If you have enough wrap, you can come back underneath to the top, back underneath, and then down to make it look better. As you see, that looks nice. If you don't have enough wrap to do that, make sure you support that wrist again. Very important you support your wrist. Okay, I'm going to make it look good because that's the way I like it. So I cross it over the top. Now, some wraps have Velcro, some don't. These don't. So what I do is I tuck it in, use some tape. We're done with your wrap. You might want to tape your wrist up a little bit, keeping that wrist very strong. You don't want that wrist to be bent in any way, shape, or form. You want to consider it not a joint anymore of your body. It's locked. Okay, so I come underneath, making sure that the wrap doesn't untuck since it's not Velcro, supporting my wrist a little more. Okay, my knuckles are very protected from that little pads I put in between. I don't feel no pressure on my knuckles. Feel right on the pad, feels very solid. Sometimes I'll take a little piece of tape and tape this up, give me something to grab onto while I'm shadowboxing. Okay, if you have two smaller wraps, what you can do is make the pad with one of them to place on top, holding it with your thumb, which I'll show you. And then you can wrap the other wrap around that, going on top between the fingers. Okay, I would grab between my index, my middle finger, close to my fingertips. I want to make this as wide as my knuckles are. So if I come down low, that's a smaller area. So I stay up high, closer to the tips of my fingers, spread the bottom fingers apart, come around until I'm able to spread them all apart. There we go. That's definitely going to be as wide as my knuckles. So I keep my hands spread apart and I just come over the top. Okay, I always leave a little bit to go around my wrist to secure it so when I'm doing my other wrap, it doesn't fall off. I'll let the slack go to the outside of my hand so I can use my thumb to hold it. So I can pull, the pressure is being held by my thumb. I can pull up underneath, hold it. Like I said, these are going to be the tricky things. They're going to take time for you to get used to. Okay, and then I come down and I go around my wrist a couple times. I express the importance of supporting that wrist because if you've ever hurt your wrist, you know why. If you haven't, it takes a long time to heal. The wrist joint takes a long time to heal. You're constantly using it in everyday activity, so you want to protect that wrist. So now I have my pad. This wrap is not short wrap, so if it was, it would be perfect. I got my pad, I would just have to come back over the top. But I will come over my wrist a couple more times to support it. Now I'll come over the top again, underneath, on top, holding it with my thumb. Come down, fold, making me a pad. Holding it with my thumb. Okay, since my second wrap is long and my first wrap is a big pad, this will help you if your gloves have a little bit of slack or air in them. When you're making contact, there's too much movement inside your glove. This will make your glove tighter. So I recommend this for all my fighters that their gloves are a little too big for their hands. Okay, so you're going to come up underneath again, using your thumb to hold it. Okay, come across to the outside of the wrist. Cross it over, come to the inside of the wrist. As you can see, if I come right there, it's not going to be very effective. That area will start to loosen up, so I wrap around that area so nothing becomes loose when I'm hitting the speed bag or shadow boxing. I come to the outside of my pinky, back to the inside, keeping everything on top, cross over to the inside of my wrist, to the outside of my wrist. Outside of my thumb, around my thumb, back under, keeping everything off the palm, to the outside of my wrist. To the outside of my index finger, to the inside of my index finger, crossing over, inside of my wrist, outside of my wrist. Now I'm going to go back, up. I'm going to cross that area of my middle finger. I like to cross over it. As you see a little air pocket there, show you how we take care of that. Outside of my wrist, back over to the top. Underneath, over the top a couple times, maybe once right there. Cross on top of that air pocket. Everything's looking good. Coming down, around my wrist, supporting my wrist. This wrist is very supported right now. It feels good. Okay. Keeping the wrap so it doesn't come undone when I'm shadow boxing or hitting the speed bag. I will tape the part that I tucked in. Okay, so these are a couple of ways you can wrap your hands. There's many ways. I prefer everything on the top, little something to grab onto on the bottom. Very much support the wrist. Knuckle problems, use those pads. Always have your hands wrapped whenever you make contact with anything. Double end bag, speed bag, heavy bag, anything you go to punch, wrap your hands, wear gloves, protect your hands. Okay, I finished my workout. My hands are probably sweaty. I'm going to take the wrap off. In order for me to be able to wrap my hands up evenly, the next time I'm working out, it's important that when my wraps are wet or damp from the sweat, and when I take them off, I hang them on, if you're at home, a door jamb, pull-up bar, anything like that, that will get the wrinkles out. What you're going to do, throw it over. You're going to get the wrinkles out by pulling one side, holding the other side, like this. That will get rid of all your wrinkles. So next time you go to roll them up to wrap your hands, they won't have any wrinkles in it. It'll be nice and flat. You cannot roll these up when they are wrinkled. So after every workout, take your wrap off, air them dry so they don't stink. But the main reason, so you can roll them up to wrap your hands. Now I'm going to show you how to roll them up for wrapping your hands. Okay, now we're going to roll up our wraps. Okay, I like to use my knee because shorts like this are too slippery. It'll keep rolling off. I start out by making a little tight roll in my wrap. Just something big enough to be able to roll. That's good right there. If I did this the whole way, it would take too long. So what I do is pull that back, hold it with my left hand. I'm right-handed. I'm going to use my right hand. Start with my fingertips, roll up to my palm, grab, slide. Roll, grab, slide. Roll, grab, slide. My left hand is guiding my wrap, keeping the tension. When I pull back, not too tight. You don't want to pull the elasticity out of your wrap. You want to pull too hard? You do want to stretch it out a little bit, get rid of all the wrinkles, if there are any. I pull, roll, grab, pull, roll, grab, pull, roll, grab. Very important, you're guiding this with your left hand. Like I said before, if you have wrinkles, you will not be able to get the wrap to be this flat, which is very important when you're wrapping your hands. Very important how you roll these up. Keeping those wrinkles out. So when you're wrapping your hands, you have a nice flat contour surface. It won't get in the way or create any kind of pains when you're making contact with anything, or if you have a tight glove on. If you have a tight wrinkle in there, it could affect your punching power or your workout because of lightening up on whatever you're doing because of the pain. So you alleviate all those problems off the bat, nice and flat, and that's your wrap right there, all rolled up. It's very important that you wrap your hands correctly. As a professional, this is what I do every day. To be a professional, I had to practice every day, train every day. If my wraps were not done correctly, I wouldn't have gotten this far. My hands would have gotten injured. So make sure you take the time and the effort to do it correctly the way we discussed. You can go to any gym in the world, wrap your hands the way we just did, and they'll know that you know what you're doing.